Okay. The third one is the ability to catapult from one realm to another. That is what they call it, but our own is called movement. We don't need to catapult. All we need is just use our leg and watch and get to where we are going to. But then they need to be able to cultivate such powers to enter dimensions. But we can literally go to the next door if you want, all by moving our legs. So you see that we possess so many powers that we take for granted. But then we have to work years to cultivate such powers. And now, this possession, I say that it happens. It only happens if the humans, that's the human beings, give these powers access to it. Like, for them to carry out the tax, I said initially, they need humans, right? Now, for them to need humans, they either have to do what's come in terms with agreement or bargain, or better still, when a woman being open a portal, this is one of the easiest way for beings to penetrate. What is a portal? A portal is defined as a door or a link where beings can actually come through to communicate with human beings. Now the question is, how do they use these portals? Or how do human beings open these portals, link or channels for them to penetrate? It's very easy. Number one, we can invoke them. Do you know how we can invoke them through these portals? We can invoke them through our what? Emotional state. Because we are beings, we are high beings, we are created in the image of real and the image and likeness of God. We have certain abilities to open portals. Sometimes we open portals that we don't close, thereby letting things, negative or positive, enter into our life. And then we wonder how. But remember where we opened it. Now, these portals are. Now, the question is, do you know how human beings, now we have defined what a portal is, but the question is, how is it that human beings open portal, or how do we get possessed by these beings? Do you know how we open portals? We literally open portals from one, our emotional states. Why will I say we open portals from emotional states? There's where you'll be crying. The God said he hears the cry of a broken heart and a conquered spirit. Likewise, there's where you'll be crying and be feeling so sad. And when you're done, you cry and go and sit down. You don't know that your sadness has actually paved the way for something to feel it. As you're crying, something will come and meet you, but you can't see, you can't feel it. The more you cry, the more the thing gets stronger. The same thing with when you're happy. The more happier you get, the more you attract spiritual beings who are happy. You understand? To come. So these are the ways we open portals. And again, how do we let them take possession of us? This one, I'm going to be explaining it in reality with real incidents. Number one, there are so many ways we can let these beings actually possess us, direct or indirectly. Okay, there's a story I told a friend of mine that a lady was actually cooking in the kitchen, preparing something. She had knock, coco. She's had the second one, knock, knock. The third one, knock, knock. She's not like, oh, come in, Joe. Before you know it, she went to look at the door. She didn't see anything. But the spiritual being that have already knocked, cultivated the power to be able to knock. By her saying come in, she has given the being the permission to come in. That is why we should be very careful when we hear knock. It's better you ask Onye or who is it, instead of saying come in, because you don't know what you're welcoming into your life. So you have to be very careful. And the last one I had, this one was based on a true story of someone that was related to somebody that I know. Her grandfather actually passed away. At night, he had someone calling his name, summoning his name. All he did was, who is it? And the grandfather died the next day. Only by responding to that call, it gave the spiritual being the access to come in and do whatever it was sent to do. Now the question is, after we've discovered that we could open portals, we could create means for possessions, how do we avoid all this, or how do we prevent all this from happening? That's a very big question. Do you have anything to say about it? All right. First things first, we are gods. We are created in the image of likeness of God. But once we don't know our ability and our power, that is when we will be subjected and submitted to sufferings and hardship or spiritual sufferings. Now, we know that we are created in image and likeness of God, and these beings don't have access to force us to do whatever we want. We have to literally come to legal agreement, physical agreement, or whatever agreement. Because an agreement is a testimony of what can be used against you. Now, we should learn to cling to our Creator. Our Creator gives us a shield. He gives us canopy. He said in the book of Psalm 91, "He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty." As long as he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. So if you leave the secret place of the Most High, you can't abide under the shadow of the Almighty anymore. Now, why is it important to abide under the shadow of the Almighty? If you are asked, what is the advantage of abiding under the secret place of the Most High, under the shadow of the Almighty? Do you know why?
Why?
It's just like you are under a canopy. When you are under a canopy, rain does not scorch you. Sorry, the sun does not scorch you. Rain does not hit you because you are under a shield.
Yeah.
Do you see the advantage of it?
Yeah.
The Psalm 91 was not literally explained. Now I'm explaining it. Because if you don't abide there, if you don't stay under a canopy, when it's raining, you are going to get drenched. Right? When it's sunny, you are going to get what? Scorched. So this is why you have to choose a tabernacle or a guide or a shield and stay under for the days of trouble, for the days of sorrows, for the days of your weakness. Because even for the days of your happiness, because these beings are roaming. So you just need a shield. Now there's a mistake that we Christians tend to make. That is, as we are abiding under the shadow of the Almighty, we tend to be like, okay, we are already under the shadow. Let us shift out small and do something and come back to it. What I mean by shift out small and come back to it, maybe doing something that we know that will take us away from the presence of God. But because of hardship and current situation, we are tempted with just shifting out